Yeah, very tough match. Chinese Taipei, I played 10 years, no wins. I think every time, every day, 10 years, Taiwan, Chinese, Taiwanese, Chinese, Taiwanese, Chinese, Taiwanese. Technique. I strong. Japanese, Kamehameha. Today, boom. Dokkan.
It's Chinese Taipei, it's last year champion. So very strong, we know. So we can be very good play. Only good play.
In fight match, please.
Yeah.
In fight.
Yes, thanks very much indeed. Well, it's getting serious now. All the survivors have somehow come through 2 rounds of this World Cup of pool, some with more success than others. Japan have been pretty comfortable in disposing of Thailand and Canada. They will come into this one in pretty good form, full of confidence, but they also know they're up against these guys, the #1 seeds, the defending champions, Chinese Taipei, who haven't even come close to hitting the heights that they're capable of, yet have still been good enough to get past Kuwait and then survive a bit of a scare against Poland. Here they are in the last 8, and the stakes are a bit higher and the racks are a bit higher. It's no longer a race to 7, it's a race to 9, and I'll tell you what, if that lag is anything to go by, this one is going to be a close call. Not much in it there. Ted has joined me in the commentary box, having come over from the table. You've heard what Ted said. He fancies Chinese Taipei strongly in this one. Why is that, Ted? What is it about this pair that you like?
Winner breaks.
What is it? Is there anything not to like about Chinese Taipei? Ko Pin-yi on the right, Chang Yu-lung, 2 solid players. Haven't hit their stride yet. Actually, if you want to know the truth, Japan has probably played better Scotch doubles pool at this point. However, we have a race to 9, a little more chance to get the arm loose, to get into the match, to get comfortable, and I just think that Chinese Taipei will hit their stride.
Well, there's the break from the charismatic Naoyuki Oi, who gave one of his customary pre-match interviews, promising to fight all the way. And that's what he's left his partner Hijikata Hayata, who, by the way, tends to get overshadowed by the flamboyant Oi, who looks all business today, as I say, doesn't he? But this fella up at the table now literally plays the game with a smile on his face all the time. He really is a refreshing player to watch. And he's going to try and just slide that one past the blue 2, hold for position. No, he isn't. He went for, well, I think he went for the in off there, or was that just a 2-way shot, getting safety as well? I thought that would have passed, Ted.
Yeah, it didn't. I guess when he's down on the table, even with these great, high definition cameras, we noticed that sometimes you just have to be the player down on the table. Yeah, Hijikata handles it well. He's with a guy who's become a bit of an internet star, and he just goes along. He's kind of like the straight man. And there's a nice carom 1 into the 5, and now a cut down the rail for Ko Pin-yi. Little tester for Ko early on, but
this isn't the sort of shot you want for your first shot of a quarterfinal in the World Cup of pool.
He's all right. He's all right. This guy, he's a real champion. He can handle it, whether at the beginning or the end of the match. You can count on Ko Pin-yi.
Well, as you said,
and with position.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I tell you what, if that is what Ko Pin-yi is bringing to the show this afternoon, Japan's in a world of trouble here.
The pressure is sort of off now because of the race to 9. Race to 7 is just so short. I mean, you get it up to your opponent has 4 or 5 racks on you, and that's it. I mean, you just feel like you can't come back. But in race to 9, it's just that little extra cushion, and you can relax a bit. We also haven't seen Chang Yu-Lung, this man, unleashed. When he's feeling it, he is fun to watch. He takes on wild shots that a lot of players would choose not to take, perhaps play safe.
Carries the nickname of the Dragon. Chang. Well,
He ran into the 9 right there, and now
I don't think he wanted that. I mean, I can't believe he was actually trying to.
no, he had no need to go for
down.
He had no need to go for the 9. The table was wide open. It's a tricky cut shot into the side. Early tester. Oh no, he goes safe.
No.
They hate to do that, you know, give up the table.
Especially with 3 balls on it. I mean, find a safe spot here. There's not many around. And no clowning around from Naoki Oi here either. He surveys the scene.
Yeah, I guess there was no reward to even hit that in the side because the 8 ball is at the other end of the table. So a good play.
Extension called.
The thing is how does Naoki Oi control the result here? Well, he's going to leave that on.
Yeah, he wanted to try and get that behind the 9 ball, and he's missed that by a considerable margin. Well, that was not an easy shot. I mean, as you said, the key there was how on earth was he going to find safety if there is no safety on this table.
And that is why Copigny played safe, because he figured that they would get a result like that. There was a high percentage that they would have an open shot. You can see already Chinese Taipei shooting pretty well, smooth and focused.
And the #1 seeds are first on the board here in our first quarterfinal. The first rack of day 5. Just one more day after this. Today is quarterfinals day. Tomorrow afternoon is a semi-final session. And then tomorrow evening we'll find out who is going to be this year's world champion. Last time out, it was Chinese Taipei, who finally got over the hill after a run of 4 straight semi-finals, then a surprising crash out in round 1. I mean, the surprise here was that Chinese Taipei, one of the stars of World 9-ball, had to wait 10 years to lift their first title, but they got there in the end.
Yeah, it's very unusual for Chinese Taipei. They produce so many great players, and not just that, they produce winners. Almost every world title these days features a player from Chinese Taipei winning it in the finals or definitely in the semifinals. Well, you see those pictures of London. People might say, well, what is this? Are these like current picture? We keep showing showing the same picture? No, the weather is really amazing here the last few days.
It's been sweltering.
Sweltering.
And it's been sweltering in the York Hall as well, which tends to act as a heat magnet, and we have seen some players struggling with the heat, particularly under those big lights that are above the table that just illuminate things. The 1 has rattled up around the top there, but there's all sorts of traffic between the cue ball and the 1 ball.
Well, safety opportunity. There's a big wall of balls down there by the 1.
Okay, just taking a look at the clock. Important shot this.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
Nicely done.
How about that? But there is every chance, if they play this right, that Japan can put Chinese Taipei right back in the stew, because there's a natural barrier there to hide the cue ball behind. Oh, and he's gone past it. Oh no, that was interesting. I thought he'd played that with a lot less power and just try and sit the cue ball up behind the pink and the black that's just sitting there.
Well, the 6 ball was over by the side pocket. He also could have gone for that, but he's left this on. And with an angle, perhaps Zhang Yulun can get on that 2 or break that cluster up.
Extension called.
This could open up the rack right here. He's got several things going on here at the same time. The pot and develop the 2.
I'm still baffled by that last Japan shot, as he does indeed develop that little combat, that cluster, because that was the pair that would have acted. Look, it's the 5 and the 2 there that he's broken up. That was the natural barrier to play safety behind on his previous shot. I'm mystified by that still, Ted. We've talked over and over again about the importance of shot selection, making the right decision and executing it. Well, it's too late to put that genie back in the bottle. This rack is getting away from Japan.
Chinese Taipei with a...
See, you could just sit there behind that natural wall, but he's just pushed it right out and left it wide open the table, and they're going to get punished as a result.
This is what champions do. That's the second poor shot selection by Japan in as many racks, and they are being punished for it. And Chinese Taipei in no hurry. You notice the pace? They are establishing control of this match right now.
And we've seen all the laughs and jokes coming from Japan through the first and second round. The clown princes of world pool are looking pretty stony-faced at the moment in their chairs. They're not finding much humor in this situation. It is a race to 9. That's the good news for Japan, but they're going to have to sharpen their game up considerably if they want to make this competitive. They've effectively just tossed away the first 2 racks here. The number 1 seeds cruising along at the moment. And where's the smiles? Where's the laughs?
Well, that's not what's going to get them out of this hole. And now, how about if they get hit with a couple break-and runs? This match could get away from them quickly. This pair has come out obviously more focused. And again, that race to 9 just gives players that extra bit of cushion to relax and get in their game. Race to 7, you just feel like you're not in control. I don't care how good you are and how favored you are.
Having said that, Ted, and again, we need to talk about this, the seedings committee, and they received a bit of criticism ahead of the event when people looked at the seedings. Only, I think,
Chinese Taipei
there's only 1 team outside the top 10, and that's the number 11 seed, have reached the last 8. So those guys knew what they were doing. Quality has risen.
Well, that's why the people in the seeding committee get the big bucks. That's what they do.
Well,
they're professionals.
They've earned it this year. And here are the number 1 seeds. Defending champions. Down goes the wing ball again.
And they'll have a shot on the 1 with potential position on the 2. So this is going to be, it's a good looking rack for Chinese Taipei. And again, no hurry. This is the kind of pace that will make the Japanese pair just more and more uncomfortable the longer they sit there.
You know, I go back to when we started the competition back on Tuesday, the first day of the World Cup of Pool, and our colleague Alex Laley, who knows the game so well. And nobody could get a break. Nobody could get anything. Dry break after dry break. And he just said, don't worry, this table will get broken in. It'll just need a day. He said, but you watch. And sure enough, we've had a lot of very, very effective breaking ever since. What's not been so effective there was that shot from Chang. He didn't want to be rolling up right on top of this 2 like that.
Cue ball got deflected with the, ran into the 7.
Time and time again we see that if there is contact with another ball on the table, bad things happen. Now he's gone for distance. He's certainly found plenty of that there.
It's a great shot.
It really is. And not only has he got distance, he's got an eclipse with the pink 4 as well. So once again, Japan step up to the table, and they've really got no shot. They've got to just try and get themselves out of a hole, and we've seen already that does not appear to be a strength of the Japanese game.
Extension called.
Well, it was Oy that made a real mess of the last safety shot when he left it wide open. This is a tough one as well. And he's hit the 9 ball, and that's ball in hand. Well,
wow.
Well, you could certainly look at the previous rack when Oy
Start the clock, please.
really just didn't play a very good shot, but that was always going to be a difficult one to get out of. But ball in hand, and with that spread of balls around the table, I mean, this is starting to spiral out of control for Japan already.
That movement of the cue ball, nicely done.
Just shows about the Chinese Taipei all-round strength, doesn't it, Ted? Yeah, they had a contact that got them out of position. So what did they do? Played a stunning safety shot, get themselves right back in control of the table again.
You're looking at a team that plays very high level 9 ball. Oops. As soon as I say that, it's a low level result.
Oh, that's a surprise as well.
You didn't want it to go that far. And you see Ko Pin-Yi hanging his head in disappointment. This is a jump shot,
Extension called.
and he can play these very well. All the Chinese Taipei players practice this shot for hours. Wow. What a recovery with position.
That is a sickener if you're supporting Japan, because not only was the pot terrific, he's then followed it up with position as well.
Well, Nick, you've been in Chinese Taipei for pool events.
Indeed.
Ooh,
Oh,
no.
well,
What
well,
was
well.
that?
I mean, that wasn't even close to again, to borrow a word from Alex Laley. He butchered that. Oh, this is a staggering miss.
So 2 poor shots from Ko Pin-Yi. Now Japan must convert. When you get handed a lifeline like that, you must run out.
Absolutely stunned by that from Ko. Yeah, lost position on the previous shot, and then just made a complete mess. It's safe to say that's as bad a miss as we've seen from Chinese Taipei in this tournament. Just glaring.
And they were playing very well, and their chance to take this match by the scruff of the neck. But, you know, those fickle pool gods don't look kindly upon those kind of misses.
Well, you better treat the table with respect. You just get the feeling that Ko thought this was all a bit too easy. He got a slap in the face for his temerity. And just like that, instead of just cruising to 3-0, Chinese Taipei have put a smile back on Japanese faces. It's a race to 9 in this first quarter-final. The number 1 seed's up 2-1. For a turn up, a shocking miss from Ko Pin-Yi. His second poor shot in a row opened the door for Japan to get themselves into this quarterfinal. They've been sat in their chairs. It should have been 3-0. Pick a weak link out of our surviving 8. After this, it's 5v13. 13 Finland, the lowest ranked seeds left. And yet that's a partnership that have gone and won this World Cup of Pool back in 2012. It really does give you an indication of the strength. There will be no such thing as a shock, I don't think, in these quarterfinals, although it would be a surprise if Chinese Taipei were to let this one slip away. And if Ko Pin-Yi doesn't start getting his game together, that may well happen. He's had back-to-back poor, really poor shots. The wing ball and the one ball, and
3 balls
I think
down.
that was the 4, and the brown might be sliding over here. It's just going to hold up. You'll take that.
People often hear us talk about the pool gods, and if you watch enough pool, you see that it does seem to make sense, because they just don't look kindly upon people missing gift shots like that. That was an easy shot for Ko Pin-Yi, and he didn't even get close. Chinese Taipei should be up 3-0.
Comfortably 3-0. That was easy
right now, and going for their 4th rack in a row. But now Japan seizing the initiative off of 1 missed ball. That's the way it works in 9-ball. You expect the rolls now to go for Japan for a while anyway.
Probably a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What kind of player, temperament-wise, is Ko Pin-Yi? Because he's had back-to-back poor, terrible shots by his standards to sit and dwell on.
Well, he is one of the coolest customers in the game. This guy can handle it. I've seen him under serious pressure when he won the World 8-ball, and World 10-ball, then the World 9-ball. He knows you do make mistakes in pool. You've just got to suck it up and wait for your turn. He'll be there. No problem.
Well, that terrific break from Hayato has put Japan into a position where they can level this race to 9 up at 2-2. Rattled around the jaws of the pocket, that one, didn't it? But it dropped. And the man who started it can finish it as well. Everything coming off the break there. Both these teams certainly capable of putting a streak of 4 or 5 break and runners together, especially with breaks like that. 3 went down. Even that brown 7 was considering dropping. As it was, it just sat inviting over the jaws, and from there it was pretty simple join up the dot stuff for Japan. And just like that, instead of being 3 down and sat in their chairs, the Chinese Taipei looking to put even more daylight between the two teams. We're locked together at 2-2. You make mistakes at this level of pool, you're going to pay for them.
Yes, indeed. And a very good break shot from Japan. Able to park that cue ball right in the middle of the table, and that made the subsequent shots easy. That's the idea. Now
Rack
Ukioi.
5, Japan to break, 2-2.
All business now.
I was going to say much more serious.
Oh, he's a great player. He's that's just his way of burning off all that nervous energy when he clowns around. Wing ball down.
And the one almost. Well, I'll tell you what, is he going to get a shot on the one? There was a second ball lazily went down.
Yes, they have a shot on the one. The next ball will be the red 3.
And that's not so good. Position on that is going to be the key. There's a bit of traffic down there. The 9's around, and that 6 is obscured. I think potentially one path to a pocket. So it's going to be a very precise positional shot required here.
If he decides to go for it.
If he decides to go for it. Because this might be, as you've inferred here, Ted, it might be
Extension called.
plan B here and just play it safe.
Well, the red 3 does go into the bottom right-hand corner pocket. He's got to watch the 8 ball running into that. So they may want to go safe.
Now, as he got safe, that needed another half a revolution to be ideal.
That was a two-way shot.
Yep.
You notice he got position for the 3 in the side. Tried to pocket the 1 on the bank.
Extension called.
Now he just stepped back like he wants to try to pot this. This is a really long, difficult cut shot.
For a guy who's out of form. Well, let's see if he can play his way back into some kind of form here, Cope.
Well, that's a very good point, because that's what Ko will do. He's not going to let a few missed shots stop him from taking on difficult pots.
Yeah.
How about that?
And he avoided the in-off as well. And is he going to just line it up nicely for that 3 ball as well?
Great shot.
Really was. There was an in-off risk attached to that shot. And he's avoided that. And he's put his partner in position. Oh, what a
Beautiful
shot that was. Chang going to the bank. Well, I think we've answered any questions you might have had, Ted, about Ko and his form. You know, you can have a slump here and there. You know, form is temporary, class is permanent, and Ko is certainly a player of the highest quality. And just that shot on the 1 ball, particularly in the context of where he'd been with his previous 2 shots, just tells you everything you need to know about him. And here they are. Wasn't even a bad shot that Japan left. I mean, he played a decent 2-way shot. But any time you let these guys on the table, you're asking for trouble. They've cleaned up.
Ko's been around a few years. He was a teenage sensation. Won the World Junior Championship, and it was only a matter of time before he won a legitimate world championship, and he indeed won this first world title in the Philippines, won the World 10-ball championship, and that was the one that was sponsored by Manny Pacquiao, the boxer. And then a few months later, he went on to win the World 9-ball championship and defeated Shane Van Boening in the final of that one. He crushed Van Boening. But I've seen him suck up some of the biggest pressure ever imaginable. And yes, you do make mistakes under pressure, but he's used to it when you have a bad shot here and there. It's not going to affect him. Such an awesome talent. And this guy, Chang Yu-Lung, not far behind. 2-time winner of the China Open, semi-finalist in the World 9-ball championship. That China Open is a tough event to win.
Oh, that's high class, that is. Yeah, you're not sneaking a win there. These wing balls pretty open, automatic now. In fact, you know, we can probably count over the last day and a half on the fingers of one hand the number of dry breaks we've had on this table. It is breaking very well indeed.
Yeah, on the first day it was we had a lot of dry breaks, but then, as you say, when the table got broken in and the ball, that wing ball seemed to be flying into the right corner almost every time. So is he going to try to cut this or bank it? Because if he He might just bank it. I don't know, because he has to stay for position on the 3. Like that. And got it safe.
Clever from the Prince of Pool, one of the many princes of pools that occupy this sport. That's not the most unique nickname.
Extension call.
Remember, today, race to 9. Still winner breaks.
Look at this, jacking up here.
Jump cue.
What does he get as a result of that? Has he managed to find a safe spot behind the 3? No, he has not. That's wide open.
I think we should have a stat for how many times a safety has led to a clear from the team who planted the safety. That's an oh, look out.
Well, just in this match alone, I think that's been 2 or 3 times already that Japan have been forced to give up the table.
Safety resulting in opponent potting a ball. Well, that's not good for Japan.
Exactly. They are losing the safety battle hands down.
Well, the other one you want to know is also like what the team that makes the safety, what it leads to, if it leads to a clear. Because that's what you do with safeties. It's more of a, yes, it's defense, but it's very much offensive.
Oh, this is for you today, Ted. Test the stats guys out day.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Making them earn their money.
Crunching their numbers back there.
I know they'll come through, though. They always do.
Well, they might be updating that particular stat the way this one's going, because off that safety play, it looks like we could be having another clear. Yeah, it's been plain sailing. Having said that, it was laid up on a platter for them, wasn't it? Hayato, I think, was forced into the mistake, such as it was, and having forced the error, Chinese Taipei punished it. They have daylight once again. They were 2-0 up. Japan pegged them back on a couple of sloppy shots from Ko. That already seems like ancient history. They're back in business again here. The #1 seeds leading 4-2 in this race to 9. Well, that was the forced error. In a big hole there, Japan tried to find safety, just laid it on a plate for Chinese Taipei with inevitable consequences. It's quarterfinals day coming up. 2 former champions, USA versus Finland this afternoon, or this evening rather. China, who look probably the red-hot team of this 8 against the Philippines, who are capable of anything. And the very quietly efficient #2 seeds, Austria, against an England team that has looked pretty good getting through to the last 8, flying the flag of St. George. So 8 strong teams, all of them believing they can go all the way. But right now we're seeing, I think it's fair to say, Ted, the best that we've seen in this competition so far of Chinese Taipei, who didn't exactly impress us with their virtuoso brilliance in 2 workmanlike wins earlier in the competition.
And that's what's going to happen when you have race to 7. It's just a sprint. So if you get those 2 out of the way, now it's a race to 9 here in the quarterfinals. Semifinals also race to 9. Get a little more chance to relax and play your own game. Look at that, the 1 and 2 down and a shot on the 3.
green and the black have cozied up. Bottom left as we are looking at it. The top left now on that shot.
Well, that green will go into the corner pocket there.
But
So if you can trace it back from there, you'll see exactly the pattern that they want to go.
Yeah, it's just a question of making sure they get position on that.
And that's what they're looking at right now.
Especially with the 5 on that bottom rail as well. That's going to have to be dealt with. This is the first of 2 very important positional shots where it's all about the cue ball. First, they've got to get that 4, get the cue ball down to have some kind of shot on the 5, and off the back of that, then they have to get position for the 6 as well. So a couple of very challenging shots coming up here for Chinese Taipei. Right, come down for that 5.
Leaves the angle to bring it back up for the 6.
Yeah, that is a very, very precise positional shot needed to get onto this 6, because as you say, it does go, but it's a restricted lane. And he decided to take that one on into the side.
Oh, that had to be a safety.
Was that a safety?
Interesting. I guess he felt Ko overhit. Well, nobody goes for a shot like that in the side. That's way too complicated.
That was a strange shot all round. Because
well, he didn't have the position. I guess that Ko overhit it. So better to go safe.
Extension called.
Well, it's exactly the same headache for Japan. This is not just a run out of the table. A, they've got to put this ball down. That's a big if right there. And then B, they've got to try and get position on the 6. So common sense would say play it safe here. And they have lost a lot of safety battles. They've got distance there. It's come back off the rail a little bit, but well, immediately Chinese Taipei were looking at that and saying, yes, we can see that, and if we can see it, we can pot it.
And he's certainly the man to do it.
There you go. Now, what does that get?
Oh, just
now,
amazing.
Now, does it go top left? How close is that?
Sure it does, but he has to get the cue ball in position for the 7, but he's going to play safe, maybe.
Yeah, that's the obvious shot, isn't it? Just tuck up behind the black 8 like that. Because they also know that they're winning all these safety battles as well. They can play the patient game here, Chinese Taipei.
That's what champions do. It's psychology, isn't it? It's listen, we're willing to wait. We don't need to come out here and bang balls. We will play the defensive game and see if you can handle it. And so far, you're right, Nick. Japan has made several mistakes off of safeties that have opened up the rack. And there's one right there.
There's another one, and that's rack over. Simple as that. Smart play. Again, all comes down to shot selection. Chinese Taipei making the right decisions. That was the smart one, because there was a huge element of risk. A, with the pot on that 6, and B, with position where there was an easy safety. Put China, or Japan rather, in a hole, and Chinese Taipei can just come along and say, thank you very much, we'll clean up the mess.
A lesson for players out there. Always be on the lookout for a good defensive shot. Because it can lead to this result right here, where they are really playing well. Smart 9-ball pool.
And there is a chasm in class between them, not in their offensive play and their ability to take on and make shots, but on the defensive side of the game. And if you're Japan, Ted, what do you do in a situation like this? You can't avoid getting dragged into safety play if your opponents keep playing safety shots. What do?
Well, they just got to hope that they get back up at the table and get on a run and can do some break-in runs, because clearly they're not in the same league exactly in terms of safeties as Chinese Taipei. But don't forget the other psychological factor, Nick. Chinese Taipei's been there and done that here in the World Cup of Pool. It was in this very venue that they won in 2015. That was the last time the World Cup of Pool was played. And that can play on your mind as well, that, you know, if you haven't been there and done that, but your opponent has.
Rack 8. Chinese Taipei to break, leading 5 racks to 2.
It can make it difficult to climb that mountaintop, to have that self-belief that you can do it. And Chinese Taipei is playing at their pace. They are controlling the pace of this match.
And it's pretty effortless for them at the moment, isn't it? Breaking so easily.
Look at that.
Well, tempting to say at first glance that this is pretty much a join up the dot stuff, but they've got to get back for that 3 ball.
That's the key shot.
Yeah, that's right down the bottom there on the left as we're looking. There is a pathway for the cue ball to take off this 2. But any time you've got other balls on the table, there is always a risk of a collision and an inadvertent snooker getting out of position. But this is the key shot right here, and off the 3, I suppose. Look at where the pink 4 is, right at the other end of the table. So actually a little bit more to deal with than at first glance on this rack.
Yeah, this is the shot here.
That's got to clear. That's got to clear.
That works. Chang is no stranger to moving the cue ball all over the table.
So the pot, yes, got to make that, of course, but you've got to get that cue ball somewhere up the other end of the table. Let's see what Chang can do. Wow, making it look easy.
Notice the pace, Nick. They're not in any rush. They've, even though it's a 30-second shot clock, they've basically mastered the shot clock.
It's very methodical, isn't it? Really well paced.
Yeah, as methodical as you can be with a 30-second shot clock, and this does not bode well for the Japanese side.
Down for that 5 ball. Doesn't want to get too close to the 8, and he's absolutely nowhere near it. Beautifully done. That's another rack in the bag. Boy, they are playing this quarterfinal very efficiently. That's the word, isn't it? It's a high degree of efficiency from Chinese Taipei. There were those earlier misses from Ko, a couple of them. Oh, as he pushed that a little bit too far, but those 2 loose shots from Ko in racks 3 and 4 cost them the racks. That's what put Japan on the board, but other than that, it's been near perfect.
Ooh, just barely.
Yeah, he wasn't too thrilled about that. He's afforded himself a wry smile there, Ko. Yeah, I think like everybody else, he was like, "Oh, is that going to go?" Yeah, got away with it. Just.
This is how you want to play. The first 2 matches, race to 7s, you just want to get through them. And we've seen plenty of teams that have gone on to win the championship have struggles early on. It's not how you play then, it's how you play from the quarterfinals on to the finals. This is when you need to take it up a notch, to kick it into gear, just like that.
Yeah, turning into a bit of a rout, this. Just as well for Japan, this is a race to 9. That's their only hope of getting back into this. If this was still a race to 7, I think we could start planning for our next match. As it is, the smiles, the jokes, the clowning. Looks ancient history for these guys, doesn't it? Meanwhile, they are being taken out very efficiently here by the defending champs, who are having a few laughs and jokes themselves.
Very relaxed. As good as we've seen them so far.
Well, we're in quarter-final action, of course. Any one of the 8 surviving teams will have woken up this morning thinking, yeah, this is going to be our competition. I think Japan's hopes are dimming by the minute here, but USA looked very strong yesterday, and the number 13 seeds Finland, the former champions, they haven't put a foot wrong. The seedings committee fancied the Americans in that one, but Finland winning would hardly constitute a shock. Those two scheduled to meet the winners in our first semi-final tomorrow afternoon. China, Philippines, England and Austria complete our quarter-final lineup. It's pretty much redundant to say wing ball down. It's just going down every single time. I don't think there's been a rack here in the 9th rack of this match. The wing ball has not stayed up for any of them. They've also got a 1 ball in the side. There's been plenty of those going down as well. Now the 2 is open. Whether they can actually pot it or whether they'll just play for safety is a decision here for Chang.
He's getting it. He's getting down on it for the other pocket there, up to the right. Or safe. Oh, it does go. Oh, they're off to the races.
Oh, that is.
Once again.
You know, if
the horses have left the stable.
If you could spot that anywhere in the table, you'd pretty much spot that cue ball right there. Ted, I have to say your pre-game pick, Chinese Taipei to win this quarterfinal, is looking pretty good, but your assertion throughout the week that you don't expect Chinese Taipei to go on and successfully defend their title, that's looking less likely now, because this is a strong performance we're seeing from them today.
Yeah, and I'm only basing that prediction on the odds that, you know, because in 10 years
never happened,
of this event, it's never happened. So, and this is the kind of event where anything can happen. So,
mind you,
know, even if you play an amazing match, you've got another amazing team on the other side, and it could come down to 1, you know, millimeter of a roll of a ball. So I still feel pretty confident in saying that, but I'm impressed with this performance. This
really
is a real marker for the rest of the field. This is the first match of the day here in our quarterfinal day at the World Cup of Pool. This is impressive.
It really is. It just continues to look better and better for Chinese Taipei. They're just nailing everything, aren't they?
Look at that.
I mean, it goes the other way as well, Ted. You know, you're absolutely right. It's the law of averages. Teams don't repeat, so you wouldn't pick Chinese Taipei on the back of that. But then again, if we'd had a conversation in 2006 and I'd said to you, it'll take Chinese Taipei 10 years to win this thing, you'd have said, don't be daft, they'll win it way before that. But they had to wait 10 years. It could be that a second title is going to come on very, very soon. They are totally in control of this. Thank goodness for Japan. It's not a race to 7. It'll be over. As it is, it might as well be over. 7-2 in this race to 9. Chinese Taipei's class is showing. Plain sailing here in this first quarter-final. Let's hope the rest are a little bit more competitive, because it's been all Chinese Taipei. The 2 racks they've lost have been both down to unforced errors from that partnership. Other than that, they've been in complete control. They are throttling the life out of their opponents in this one. It's a race to 9. They need 2 more to start planning for tomorrow's semi-final, where they will meet the winners of our next match, USA versus Finland. And I hope those guys are in the building, because we're going to be needing them pretty soon. I think all four of them upstairs on the practice table will be just glancing at the score and saying, oh, we better be ready to roll here, because this one is going to be done in double quick time the way it's going. Chang, who has not put a foot wrong in this match, misses the wing ball. Now he's got two others, but let's get the fanfare going. But the wing ball dropped into the side anyway.
3 balls down.
3 down. Never mind the wing ball. Let's just get 3 others. Look at that. The blue rattled around and didn't drop, but yeah, you got a 1, you got the pink, and then you got the blue 2 as well. And look where the 3 is. I mean, this is painful if you're Japan. You know, this is another rack. You're sitting in your chairs.
3 into the side. Next ball will be the orange 5.
And the 7's headed north, but with the 5 and the 6 up at that end of the table anyway. You get past that 8, yes, just about enough.
Wow, precision there.
A
with
bit
the
too
angle.
close to comfort, Ted, let's be honest. I don't think he wanted it quite that close.
Well, he's got the angle.
Yeah, he has.
To bring it down for the next one, the green 6. Look out.
That needs to stop. That needs to stop. That was a great reaction there from the Japanese players. They just looked up at the big screen that's above them, and you could see them. They were willing it. Go on, drop, drop, drop. But no, it wouldn't do it.
Can
Sorry,
he see
fellas.
the whole ball?
Sorry, fellas.
Should be able
Yes.
to.
They're stuck in their chair again. Wouldn't have needed much more. They were trying to suck that white ball in, these two. So, a cue out of the jaws of the pocket here. Get position on the 7.
Great shot. What a touch. Except for a few early mistakes from Ko. This has been a flawless performance.
Well, I was just thinking that, Ted. I don't think Chang has missed a shot,
Right.
whether it's a pot or a safety. He's dead on.
He's a total rock today, Chang Yulong. This is ominous for the rest of the field.
Well, it really is. I mean, we weren't overly impressed with them beating Kuwait in round 1. Frankly, they could have lost against Poland in round 2. That could have gone either way, but this is another level altogether. Chinese Taipei are looking serious contenders for this title here, and so relaxed with it as well. Yeah, it's kind of like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. They can't beat themselves up, can they? They've lost safety battles, and as a result of that, they've been stuck in their chair. That's the difference between the two. It's not like you'd look at Japan and say, well, they've messed up this, they've blown that opportunity. They have just been out-dueled at crucial moments on safety play, and they're getting blown off the table as a result.
Six racks in a row, and here for the last time breaking
Rack 11,
in
Chinese
this match.
Taipei to break, leading 8 racks to 2.
Ko Pin-yi, the best in the world at the break shot.
How's this all going to pan out?
Well, Japan will get back up at the table.
But will they be sucked into another safety battle?
They will.
And we know how that goes. various options here. They could just decide to play this one and play for safety. They could have a push out if they chose to take that option, but I think they're going to go with the former. It's certainly an opportunity to create some distance, and ideally Chang will be hoping just to get that cue ball tucked in behind the 8. It hasn't quite worked, but it's still good enough. It's good enough. If he managed to get it behind the 8, it would have been perfect.
Well, that's married up against the 8 ball. That cue ball's pretty much taken the jump shot out, I believe. He can jump that. This could go awry.
What a situation. I mean, your World Cup of Pool
Attention
campaign
ball.
is hanging by a thread, and you've got to make a shot like this.
The danger here, Nick, is that you just don't know where it's going to end up.
That's the thing, isn't it? Ayako rolling the dice. You might as well when you're 8-2 down. What have you got to lose? Just the whole match. Now, is he going to get anything off the back of it? Is his bravery going to be rewarded? And the answer is no. Not their day.
It's all gone according to plan for Chinese Taipei. Plant the safety, they get a shot, they run out. This is exactly how you do it in 9-ball. Limit the unforced errors.
It's been utterly ruthless, this, from Chinese Taipei. They've given their opponents nothing. Just those 2 misses from Ko, and we have to go on about them because that's the only blemishes in the entire performance. That's it. 2 poor shots in a quarter-final of World Cup of Pool between them. Stunning effort, this, from Chinese Taipei.
I see it time and time again in tournaments, wherever they may be around the world. The person or team that wins the tournament never plays wire-to-wire perfect pool. There's always a struggle somewhere early on, a test that they have to go through, and then they kick it into gear when it matters and take it to the title. So it's very possible that this could be the first team to repeat in the World Cup of Pool. They are turning it on at exactly the time that they need to in the quarterfinals.
I know you fancied Chinese Taipei ahead of this match. You've been proved correct. Did you expect it to be this comfortable for them, this completely commanding?
Not quite this, but you know, if this team, when they play like this, not many teams can keep up.
Just 2 shots left in this first quarter-final in the 2017 World Cup of Pool. Ko deals with the 8, brings the cue ball down, and Chang, who has been flawless from first shot to last, can put Chinese Taipei into the semi-final, and there it is with a minimum of fuss. Now that was ominous. They may have been a little bit up and down and unimpressive in their first 2 matches. They've been simply stunning in this quarter-final, and they've told everybody else in this tournament, you want to knock us off our perch? Good luck with that. Chinese Taipei into the Final 4 in stunning fashion.
Welcome back to York Hall, where we've just seen Chinese Taipei, our defending champions, take care of Japan 9-2. We can see the stats for the match here. As you can see, 0 dry breaks. Alex Laley has been telling us that you won't see many of those anymore in the competition. Average balls on break 2.0 to Japan, 1.9 to Chinese Taipei. Very close there. Break and runs 2-1 and break and wins 7 to Chinese Taipei to Japan's 1. And I'm pleased to say that I've got a player from each team with me now, Naoki Oi and Ko Pin Yi. Let's start with Ko. You must be happy with that, Ko.
Yeah, I'm very happy now. Yeah, and this match break, we are very lucky. Yeah.
It's interesting because your first couple of games, you started quite slowly, but this game, 9-2.
Lucky. Yeah, always lucky. So I can beat him 9-2.
Lots of people are talking about you guys defending the title. Do you think you can do it back to back?
I think I can do it.
Naoki's nodding his head. Do you think they can go back to back?
Yeah, maybe. Super amazing Taiwan player, Ko Pin, my friend. And my rival, very nice play today. To back maybe Japan. No, Japan, Taiwanese champion. I think,
Are you a little bit disappointed though? Because, you know, to go down 9-2, it's quite tough to take.
Yeah, no chance. I go back, go Japan. Japan to the sushi, yeah.
Will you be back next year, Naoki, next year?
Next year, come back.
And you think you can win next year?
Yeah. Training. Come
Well, listen, congratulations, Ko, commiserations, Naoki, and thank you for an amazing match today. Right, let's have a look at the order of play today then.